Okay, good evening, everybody. If you'd please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, would you mind starting us with a prayer?
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity we have to serve the citizens of Hampshire County. We have so much that we thank you for here. We just ask your blessing and guidance on all that's said and done. And we can't remind us of the season and the time we should be thankful all year round, but to remind us of it. We thank you. Thanks in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody this evening. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving, and we will get started with our Hampshire County Commission meeting Tuesday, November 28th, 2023. And the first item on the agenda is our minutes, which the commissioners received digital copies of those, so I could entertain a motion to approve or make any corrections that we need to note at this time.
Mr. President, I move the minutes be approved as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the minutes be approved as presented. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passed. Also, I'll welcome anybody that's with us online. I forgot to mention that there. And just let everybody know that we are live streaming, just so the audience knows that as well. So we'll move on to our presidents and commissioners reports. A couple things I got to report on since our last meeting. Of course, the Capitol tree, which was from one of our forests here in the state of West Virginia, was in town here. I think it was the day of our last meeting, actually. So I attended that and was glad to see that West Virginia got on the mark for that again. We had not done that since 1976, provided a tree for the Capitol. But mainly just wanted to mention that our CVB, who has really increased their activity and awareness here in the last couple of years, had a big part in working with the deaf and blind school grounds there to make that happen. And pretty good turnout there. And I saw Commissioner Cannon there as well, which I thought it was a real decent turnout for that. Our own Parks and Rec knocked off or started their lighting ceremony for the County Christmas Festival of Lights there this past weekend, and that is better than ever. Looks really good, and they put a lot of work into that. I think it continues to gain popularity there, and if you have not seen it in the last few years, go out there and see it, and tell your friends in neighboring states and counties to come see it too. The last thing since our last meeting, I had the opportunity to meet with some of the officials of Omnitrax, and Delegate Hillenbrand called and invited me to that, which they had invited the presidents of the commissions of Hardy, Hampshire, and Grant, as well as the delegates there, and did get to meet and talk with several of the top officials from Omnitrax. You know, again, we've stated that that's not so much a county issue. That's a state issue. However, I did definitely take that opportunity to go and meet the folks that we're going to be working with potentially. I believe there is an agreement to be officially in effect as of December 1st. And I'll just highlight a couple facts about that. You know, the state and Omnitrax explained that a proposal was presented from Omnitrax, and it's advantageous to the state's asset of the South Branch Valley Railroad. They anticipate real jobs and real growth from it. However, in considering the offer, the state expressed two priorities. One was their employees of the railroad, which it's my understanding they were offered good employee packages with Omnitrax. And their second priority was to protect the Potomac Eagle. And they had several one-on-one discussions with the Potomac Eagle to see that their concerns and addresses were agreeable to both the state and Omnitrax. Since, you know, the state did own it and they leased the Potomac Eagle rights. So obviously there was a lot of concern about those issues. You know, these are the facts that I can come up with. And I did, you know, like I said, about a week and a half ago, I got a chance one evening to spend a couple hours with about 6 or 7 of the top Omnitrax officials. So they had a wealth of information and answered a lot of my questions. Omnitrax will eventually assume 100% responsibility of all capital maintenance with this lease agreement. It is a lease agreement with them. There's a 5-year purchase option, but that 5-year purchase option gives the state time to study the performance of the agreement itself, evaluate their relationship of the two new parties being the Potomac Eagle and Omnitrax, and examine the overall economic benefits for the region after that 5-year period. And there is in the agreement, Omnitrax agrees to continue under the same or similar terms of the existing contract of the Potomac Eagle contract, even if the rail line is purchased. So again, just took that opportunity to meet those folks. All of the representatives from Omnitrax that I met were very, seemed to be, in my opinion, hardworking, down-to-earth, family-type individuals. So I was glad I took that opportunity. That's all I have, and I will pass the floor to Commissioner Hott.
Okay, I had a meeting with the HCSA, and mainly the board reviewed the Hamlet's bid contracts, and I think Mr. Hott's here tonight to discuss that a little further, so I won't go into that. I also attended a Region 8 Rural Development Council meeting, and basically what we done there was we had a presentation from the State Development Office concerning broadband in the state of West Virginia, and concerning applying for grants and so forth. And after the presentation was over, it's very clear that Hampshire is going to be not going to be helped at all with what the Development Council proposed, because Frontier still has a lot of the territory in Hampshire that Hardy is not able to, Hardy might not be able to bid on. And then that was on a Thursday, and then on the following Tuesday, which I think I told you all that Mr. Lively had been very ill, and that we had approved the Assistant Director, Melissa Earl, to act on his behalf. And then the following Tuesday, Mr. Lively passed away. He'd been with Region 8, I think approximately 14, 15 years. And so we, anybody that wants to send their condolences, it's the Odell Funeral Home in Montgomery, West Virginia is handling that service. And then Mr. Laber's request was that he would be cremated, and he wanted his ashes distributed over his favorite fishing spot in Grant County. But Terry will be, he'll really be missed by all of us. And but he had been really, really sick for quite some time. Other than that, and also I just mentioned to Commissioner Cannon that I received another call from Clark Barnes. And Clark at one time was a senator for our district here, state senator, but apparently he's working with a company that's going to be putting in some, applying for permits to put in some windmills, I think, over in the Cape and Springs area. And I have tried to get back to him twice, and I haven't been able to get a hold of him. But hopefully he'll come and talk to the Planning Commission about their permit and see what they propose. That's all that I have.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Hott, and I'll pass the floor on now to Commissioner Cannon.
Thank you. So I had a scheduling conflict. Committee on Aging had to reschedule, and they rescheduled on the day of our Development Authority meeting, but I did get a little briefing from Julie Linger, and I'm supposed to meet with her again this week. But as far as Committee on Aging, the only real development there was, according to the new grant policy, there are no longer term limitations for the board members. They were 10-year terms, so we had a lot of people step down. I mean, I personally believe in term limits, but it seems in a small rural county, when you get good people that want to give back, it's nice to keep them. So there is some pros and cons to it. So, and Glenn Delaplane did step up. We were having, it just gives you a little microcosm into how hard it was to find a replacement for the few that were term limited. It took us a couple months to get Glenn to serve. But the other thing is there's a new stipulation on our grants that there's going to be an increase in the amount of hot meals required per week. It won't be as sparing of a thing. It's going to have to be at least 5 days a week. And I want to reiterate that with Julie. I don't want to misspeak, but I know it's going to, there's going to be a difference, and we're going to have to serve more meals, which is a good thing. As I've always said, the more we talk about it, the more people we get that sign up for the programs that we have, but we don't really necessarily get as much help and donations. But I'm sure there's a little bit more. Like I said, I'm going to meet with Julie later this week. At the Development Authority meeting, basically our new business was just finishing up our final pay requisition for Hampshire Memorial, so that's totally wrapped up. I think there was a standing ovation. We are moving forward with the LED grant, and then we talked a little bit about the Commission's approval on the annual $100,000 to $150,000 we give them, and we're going to have our holiday Christmas dinner December 20th at the Margaret Keller House, if any gentlemen would like to attend. And then we had a lunch and learn event over at the Deaf and Blind School, and we had a little software where we took metrics, and I believe we had 60, 70 businesses come out, so it was a pretty big deal. Kind of resembled a Chamber of Commerce. So based on the polls, people are really wanting us to continue that, learn about local businesses, get the businesses involved, and talk more about the hiring process, and maybe advertise our businesses to potential employees. So there's a lot of positive that came out of that. We did talk a little bit about Cape and Bridge Middle School. and the possible exchange there with the Parks and Rec as far as the portion of the building in which they collect rents. We got a little bit of an update on Energix, this solar company. I believe our executive director went and met with the individual. I'm not sure if things are really going to materialize there or not, so I don't want to speak too in depth on that. But also attended a planning commission meeting, which the main fruits of that meeting were we had some complaints on solar farms, and there was a salvage yard infraction, the habitual offender on Fairgrounds Road. I don't know if I CC'd you gentlemen in that or not, but we went over the code with the planning commissioners, and basically our compliance official is, we've moved to get her to investigate it, and once the infractions are cited, she'll come back to the planning commission with the evidence according to the ordinance, and at which time the planning commissioners will deem it a common nuisance. And I've sent all this to the prosecutor. This is an individual he has just basically reading the ordinance. I found 5 or 6 things that I do see align with infractions. Far more than 3 junk cars that aren't insured. He doesn't have a fence. He's well within the footage of a road. He's well within the footage of a subdivision. He actually resides in a subdivision, so that's the first one of these that I've had to deal with. But really, other than that, I did talk to our grant writer, as it was forwarded to me by Delegate Thorne and on to you gentlemen, and I felt I should at least get an update. I felt like it was going really well, and Rolf said that the training has been very fruitful. So a good expenditure of the taxpayer dollars. I did talk to Delegate Hillenbrand got some Omnitrax updates, in which I believe he emailed you gentlemen on as well. And then I did visit the Capitol tree as well with my little girl, and Commissioner Egger was there as well. That's all I have. For everything else will be covered in the next couple things. Commissioner.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for your reports. We will go ahead and move on to our 6:15 agenda item, and we have Mr. Matthew Hott here for courthouse clock repair decision.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did we already pay for this once, or no? Whenever you gentlemen did the...
No, we've been a long while just trying to get somebody qualified to look at this thing. We had, I think at one time we had Mr. Gano looking, and he passed away. So
Yeah. Whenever it was, when was it installed?
when we put the cupola up there, it's,
2011 or 12.
Wow.
but those clocks have been
Yeah.
on for a long while.
Yeah, there's not very many warranties that last that long on a clock. Yeah.
Go ahead, gentlemen. What you have before you is an estimate to repair the clocks. He was here about 3 weeks ago. This gentleman out of Connecticut, and I was able to find him through who maintained clocks, City Hall in Winchester. Went to a guy in Harrisonburg who's gotten old, doesn't climb anymore, and then he's passed the torch to some of this stuff to a cohort who resides in Connecticut, and he travels up and down the East Coast, and that's what he does. And so he was here about 3 weeks ago, diagnosed the problems with one of the clocks in the control module. He also offers, if you elect to go with him, he will do a contract where he'll come annually, once a year, and do maintenance work on them, do service work on the clocks. But that's down the road. Pretty difficult to find someone that does this type of niche work. But as you can see here, one of the clocks are bad, and the GPS and the control module right out here in the hallway is bad. So the way he had designed to do this, you won't, once it's done, other than the clocks itself, everything will be able to manage it remotely from down here. You won't have to climb up there to do anything else. There's a box up there, and the chimes hasn't worked, so he will be able to, it will keep the time, and then also the chimes would also work as well. So that's his estimate for repairing the clocks. I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, I personally have gotten quite a few complaints about the clock. I know seemed like a small
Most
issue,
of us
but
don't look up, but
yeah.
to me, if it's there, it ought to be working, or if it's not going to be working, maybe it shouldn't be there.
I think we've let this languish long enough. It's well under 25,000.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, like Mr. Hott had said there, if it's going to be up there, it needs to be working and fixed. So I would agree that it's probably best that we fix it. If we don't have luck this time, then we just need to put some north, south, east, west symbols up there or something.
If you choose to do this, he's in Roanoke, the city of Roanoke, tomorrow, fixing their clock. And he's got the equipment with him. He could be here Thursday. I told him I would give him a phone call tonight to let him know yay or nay. But that's your all's decision to make.
I think if it's a decision we make, we might want to consider, depending on price, but to have him come check it out every so often. So there again, if we go to keep it, we need to keep it working.
Yeah, I have no idea of that cost, but we can glean that from him, what that would be, what you would call an annual service contract.
I move we accept the bid as presented, About Time Restorations.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the bid of $8,200 for restoring our cupola clock on top of the courthouse back to working order. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passed. Okay, and I think Mr. Hott will stay here for the ambulance station bid selection as well, so we will move on to that.
Very well.
Go ahead and step out, Brian.
If you would like to, Commissioner Cannon, if you want to recuse yourself, that'll be fine.
Thank you.
So we had four, as you all know, you opened them up at the last commission meeting, 4 proposals. And what you have in front of you is that the committee went through, they went through all 4. They selected these 2, Cannon Construction Excavation and Lance, as the 2 that they liked. With all that being said, what I tried to do here on this sheet of paper is give you a little outline of separation between the 2 contractors and their proposals. I'll give you a minute to read that.
On this fire booster pump, we're fairly certain that there's going to be enough pressure from provided from Central
Yes.
Hampshire.
Yes,
So that's
we're 95% certain it won't be required.
yeah. Mr. President, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion, and then we can discuss further if you so desire.
Okay.
Okay, I move that we accept the bid of Cannon Construction and Excavation at a $1,149,665.
Okay, and I'll second that motion, and I'll just add that,
Can I interject for just a second?
sure can.
I know Ted couldn't be here. He and I talked today, and he sent me this, that on the committee, Mr. Hott's involved with the ambulance committee. 3 of those, the committee members out of the 5 that he could reach were in agreements to your motion, Mr. Hott. But they also would like to add the veneer front, as you can see in Mr. Cannon's exposure, that's an add-on, and the covered porch on the entrance. The additional sidewalk and the decorative.
Yeah, I had noted those differences there, which adds 24,000.
Right.
However, if you go down and look at the Lance, there's no AC in the truck bays, but there is.
And I think the committee also, they had discussed, these 3 committee members, about not having and that will be a reduction, but not having AC in the truck base.
So that would counterbalance the 24 add-on.
Yep.
But I would just add that, you know, I would like to see, you always like to see a local person get it if they have a good, honest, reasonable bid. And although all the bids were higher than we hoped, I guess that's just the way our country's working right now. But you know, I like seeing a local person get it, and I think, you know, I think that building is pretty straightforward, and, you know, while he may not have as much experience as Lance, which is very experienced, you know, I think that building's pretty straightforward, and I'd be glad to see a local person get it.
And Mr. Cannon is here.
Okay. Great.
I didn't hear what he said.
What,
I didn't hear what
he said, Mr. Kent.
Mr. Cannon is here.
Okay.
He's present.
So with the motion and second on the floor, I'll take that to a vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. So Cannon Construction and Excavation for the ambulance station proposal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hott. Thank you, Mr. Cannon. And Eric, do we have any maintenance items?
We have a few things, nothing as exciting as that.
Somebody can call Commissioner Cannon back in.
We have a line item budget request, revision request from the sheriff's for his process service budget.
I move we approve the sheriff's request for the budget revision.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor of the sheriff's request for budget revision in the amount of $500, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Next item, the treasurer's office sent us a request that you establish 3 new funds in compliance with the auditor's recommendation based on the new funds established by the legislature. One of them being the opioid settlement fund, second being the county fire protection fund, and the third being the EMS salary enhancement fund. This will allow us to have places to distribute that money as they come in.
Yeah, gentlemen, I think Eric sent us the emails pertaining to these funds. As a little background information.
Yeah, I've seen those. David, has he seen these?
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric sent us the emails about it.
Mr. President, I move we approve the treasurer's request to open the 3 new accounts as specified in their documentation there.
Second.
Okay? All those in favor of the accounts needed to be open for the funding requirements, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Darren Taylor brought us a, I'm sorry,
We'll go ahead and get this part done for you, Eric.
Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Taylor with the South Branch Valley Day Report Center had applied for a grant for 2 recovery coaches with COSAP. That's been COSAP. That's been approved. So we have the contract and resolution that needs signed, so we can be returned to Charleston.
You already seen it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to see it, do you? No. Okay. I'd entertain a motion for the signature and approval of the grant.
Mr. President, I move we authorize you to sign that opioid stimulant grant.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passed.
Be $63,793.
He was very pleased to get that. These are the state settlements. It's the detailed part. These are lists.
Mr. President, I move the commission approve all probate orders, fiduciary appointments, qualifications, and all fiduciary bonds coming before the clerk and the vacation of the commission since its last regular meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, according to the statement Commissioner Hott just read. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passed.
Mr. President, I'll get you to sign before I adjourn. The other item I have is the invoice.
Okay, we're down to the invoices, gentlemen.
Our next meeting is the 12th.
Yes, sir. Oh, by the way, in regard to that, the order to public hearing at that meeting will run in the review tomorrow, and it was published in the Mineral News Tribune today.
Okay.
That gives us our,
Okay.
there's,
So we'll be able to do the public hearing the 12th as well. Okay? And the county Christmas
15th.
is the 15th? 15th?
What time's it? 11? Noon? No, okay.
Are we gonna do a meat tray for that? Where are we gonna get it at?
A meat tray, where are we getting a meat tray? Did we have decided? Where, where'd we get it last year?
well, I can talk to Wayne's Meats. They've always been very good.
Okay. Yes, are you any place special? You want?
No, I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
we had that figured out. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. The hospital did a good job one year, so depending on what y'all want to do, but we keep it open.
That sound all right with you, Commissioner Cannon? The commissioners buying the meat tray for the lunch party?
We may throw in some bread and condiments with that.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're gonna do the calling on that? Okay, good, because I'm not good at doing dinner parties. Kelly's always takes care of that stuff.
Big help. Expect 60 people, you'll need his help.
I move we accept the invoices as presented.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the invoices presented before the commission since our last meeting be approved as presented. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. We don't have a lot of public here this evening, but I'll ask if we have any public comment at this time. You gentlemen are going to stay quiet, so, okay.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the commission adjourn their meeting for this evening. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.